Greetings fellow Whovians and welcome to Timey Wimey Reviews. Regenerations are synonymous to Doctor Who, with that mixed emotional feeling of sadness and happiness. Sad that potentially your favourite Doctor is going to leave, but happy and excited to see how the new persona takes the show in a new direction. For this list, I'm looking at the regeneration scenes themselves, not necessarily the story that preceded them. With that in mind, here is my top 5 Doctor Who regenerations. Starting with number 5, Doctor, I Let You Go, the 12th Doctor, Twice Upon a Time. Small confession here. At times I did struggle with the Peter Capaldi era. I think because part of it was I was missing Matt Smith a lot, and the other side of it was I felt sometimes they left on an emotional and performance level quite a few things on the table. However, Peter Capaldi absolutely nailed this regeneration scene, so much so that I definitely need to go back and rewatch with a fresh pair of eyes, because I know there were some great moments for the 12th Doctor era and some great episodes in there too with Peter Capaldi's performances. This scene had emotional weight from the start, with the Doctor saying one more regeneration won't hurt, well, except for me. And for me, just thinking about it, yeah, because it's on a physical level, it is going to hurt to reborn and change your face and height and everything else. But on an emotional level, it's really difficult to get your head around, because imagine like your life carrying on, but through another set of eyes and another set of like tastes and sounds and speech and just how you are. It's just mind-boggling to just try and get that. This speech also has some great life lessons that everyone should use for everyday use. Most notably, always try to be nice, but never fail to be kind. And with a burst of Time Lord energy, the 12th Doctor is no more, and then we get Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor. Number 4 is This Death, the 5th Doctor, The Caves of Androzani. Caves of Androzani is an out-and-out classic for me. It's always a toss-up between this story and Genesis of the Daleks for being the top story of all time in Doctor Who. The 5th Doctor was an absolute hero. He went to hell and back throughout this 4-part episode adventure to try and rescue his friend and companion Perry, who, as a viewer at that time, we barely even know. He carries Perry in his arms into the TARDIS to give her the antidote to Spectrox's toxemia. Enough antidote for her, but sadly not enough for the Doctor. There's added suspense with the Spectrox, which is poisoning the Doctor's body, could permanently damage the regeneration process. The Doctor is lying on the floor of the console room, having a vision of his previous companions who is willing the Doctor to regenerate, with his arch enemy the Master telling him to do the exact opposite. And with a bang, the 6th Doctor appears, with Colin Baker saying the immortal lines, "Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon." A brilliant swan song for really any Doctor, but truly fitting for the Peter Davison era. If you haven't seen this story before, I highly recommend that you watch it. Number 3, Physician, Heal Thyself, the 8th Doctor, The Night of the Doctor. The 50th anniversary of Doctor Who had a lot of surprises, but this was the biggest surprise of all: the return of Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor back on our screens. Similar to Caves of Androzani, the Doctor is trying to save someone that he barely knows, only for it to just backfire terribly as Cass crashes a ship onto a mysterious planet. In essence, the Doctor was killed by the consequences of the Time War between the Daleks and the Time Lords, something that the Doctor, especially the 8th Doctor, was desperate to avoid. The Doctor has crash landed on the planet Khan, something that we haven't seen since the brain of Morbius, and with the help of the Sisterhood of Khan, the Doctor is able to choose his next regeneration. A dejected Doctor this time chooses a warrior. Arise, the War Doctor. Paul McGann looked absolutely great in this 5-minute special, The Night of the Doctor. It was great to see him once more on screen again, and I think it was a fitting tribute, to be fair, as part of obviously the 50th anniversary celebrations, but again, a tribute to Paul McGann's hard work of keeping the 8th Doctor alive, or Doctor Who alive, during the wilderness years through the Big Finish audio adventures. Number 2. It's the end, but the moment has been prepared for. The 4th Doctor, Logopolis. Now this was truly an end of an era, After 7 years, it was time to say goodbye to the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. The Doctor has saved the universe once more, but not without the Master getting his revenge and making the Doctor plunge to his death from a giant satellite on Earth. And in the special edition now of Logopolis, you actually do see the fourth Doctor just fall onto the floor. It's quite harrowing stuff to see. The Doctor's life is flashing before his eyes, as not only do we have his companions shouting the Doctor's name, including past companions Harry, Sarah, K9, Romana 2, Leela as well, the Brigadier I think was in there, but also the Doctor's enemies as well, vast enemies that he had, like Davros, the Daleks, Cybermen, even the Black Guardian. It's truly grim stuff, really. To many, Tom Baker is the Doctor, and I can imagine in America, if you say classic Doctor Who, you probably say Tom Baker as well. So to see that in the 80s must have been really sort of heartbreaking to see. You know, 7 years is a long time to be with, for many, if anyone, it's just the Doctor. So to have someone new and refreshing come into the role when Peter Davison takes over must have been jarring, but again, exciting at the same time. It was a close call, but the fourth Doctor's regeneration takes the number 2 spot. Before I reveal number 1, here's a couple of honourable mentions. That regeneration scene, the Stolen Earth, the 10th Doctor. As the 10th Doctor just got exterminated by a Dalek just before he reunited with Rose, who was trapped on a parallel world. We had the regeneration process started. It was just all that burst of energy. And then we had cue the music and then the to be continued. It was just such a great tease, and just everyone for that full week was just talking about who it's going to be. Is it going to be Christopher Eccleston again? Is it going to have a new Doctor? I think like James Nesbitt was on there, Daniel Radcliffe, Eddie Izzard, I think his name was popped up in there. It was just a great TV moment where just everyone was just back into Doctor Who again. And I have to mention the first regeneration that took place on the 10th planet, as we see departure of the first Doctor, William Hartnell, and the second into the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. Now, again, this is such mixed emotions, really, because if you sort of go into it and if you watch the TV drama that Mark Gatiss made a few years back, it was heartbreaking because William Hartnell pretty much had to give up that role due to ill health. The BBC wanted to sort of just take it into a new direction, really. But it was also exciting and groundbreaking too, because we have Patrick Troughton, who just went on to be the Cosmic Hobo. And if that didn't work, we wouldn't be talking about Doctor Who now. We wouldn't be celebrating nearly 60 years of Doctor Who and have all these regenerations, and I wouldn't be having this top 5 regeneration video. So in tribute, I want to say thank you to really William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton. And my number 1 pick for the top Doctor Who regeneration is I Don't Want to Go, the 10th Doctor, End of Time Part 2. It had to be, really. It was such a tearjerker. David Tennant to many people, many Whovians, many fans as the top Doctor, and I think even now everyone still get teary-eyed or a little bit of a lump in the throat if they talk about it or rewatch that scene. I mean, it was a great farewell to David Tennant. Again, having past companions in that sort of when the 10th Doctor gets his reward. So he gives like Donna the lottery ticket, he rescues or saves Mickey and Martha from the Sontaran, saves Luke from getting run over as a thanks to Sarah Jane Smith. Again, Elizabeth Sladen was, she played that really well. Like that, she knew something was going to happen. She knew this was a goodbye, but it was sort of like, I know the Doctor will be back in some shape or form. It was just great stuff. And then, of course, he sees Rose on New Year's Day 2005, and it's going to be a great year. And even now, just thinking back of all the music from Murray Gold, it was just such dramatic stuff, and just really, again, what modern Who does is just nails the emotions, whether it be funny or sad or exciting. And this one, again, is just a tearjerker. With David Tennant uttering that famous line, "I don't want to go." It was kind of like in his head. I think when he says that, it's his heart saying that. It's that fanboy that watched Doctor Who as a kid, went on to act and would love to have been the Doctor, even though it wasn't on at the time. But luckily lands this role, this iconic role. And I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tandem here, but yeah, again, in his head, he knew he had to move on, otherwise he'll be wheeling himself out in a bath chair and being this Doctor until he's in his 80s. But in his heart, "I don't want to go." It was just that fanboy farewell to an iconic character, and then you see the TARDIS just crumbling down and this massive explosion of Time Lord energy. It was just a mark defining goodbye for not only the David Tennant, but obviously Russell T Davies, as he was moving on from being the head script writer for Doctor Who. Yeah, it's just big stuff. Something that I find brilliant to have when Doctor Who came back. You know, we were all fans during the 60s, 70s and 80s and into the 90s, but seeing Doctor Who return in a big way and having such a dramatic regeneration, it's just good stuff. And that's why it's my number one pick as the top Doctor Who regeneration. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments below what your favourite Doctor Who regeneration was. Next time on Timey Wimey Reviews, in honour of comic relief, I will be reviewing Curse of Fatal Death. That'll be a lot of fun. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share the video and subscribe to the channel. And as a good doctor once said, life depends on change and renewal.